Well, goggles are super important, and vision, of course, one of the most important factors in motocross without a doubt. And what we've got here, we've got a couple of our crash test dummies either side of me. These absolute legends. We're going to be putting them to the test in a second. We've got Jesse Dobson on this side of me. He's running the 100% goggles. He's running the roll-off system. And to my right, we've got Hayden Melross running the Oakleys. He's choosing the tear-offs. So just quickly going to ask, Hayden, why do you prefer the tear-off system as opposed to roll-offs?
So with the tear-off systems, I'm fortunate enough of Oakley to do laminates. So with the laminates, you can run 7, 14, and they come in a pack. So opposed to putting 1 and 2 individual tear-offs on at once, you can put them all on together. This helps if it's misty, if it's raining, a little bit of dew, even the dirt. It stops and eliminates them getting in between the tear-offs themselves. So you'd never really run into any issues at all with vision. So that's my personal preference and why I love the tear-offs.
All right, now we've got Jesse to my left here, and he's running 100% roll-offs. And Jesse, tell us about your roll-off system and why you prefer that.
So with 100%, they got a really neat roll-off system on the new goggles, and I prefer these goggles in a wet and rainy kind of situation. They got a really nice mud flap across the top, and instead of the tear-offs, they have 2 rolls in one side and then another film in the other side. And as you pull the string, the film will slide across the lens, and I find that with that, I can have a longer duration of clear vision with the rolls. I believe that 100% do the best one out there, so that's why I like that.
Okay, well, both these boys are used to copping a bit of roost on the track. So we've got a little bit of a cool thing we're going to do here and see how they deal with roost standing here on the track. All right, guys, well, we've done our homework. We've recruited our expert mud slingers, and it's time to see what comes out on top, tear-offs or roll-offs. Before that happens, I am about to exit stage left, so hang on 2 secs, guys. Let's have a little bit of a look. We need to make a verdict here. Jesse, let me see. You got a little bit of a drop hanging down, and yeah, the vision's not too bad. Oh, perfectly clear. For my vote, I'm going with the tear-offs. However, if we had a few more throws involved, I think the roll-offs would come out on top. I'm going to call it even, Stephen. Good job, boys. Let's take a quick look at the Pirelli lineup for the MX2 class.
As you mentioned there, Kyle Webster was the quickest, Jesse Dobson, Rhys Budd, Nathan Crawford, Jay Wilson, our big hitters, all up the front nice and early. Noah Ferguson also, we saw a great ride of him at the Canberra round. Dylan Wills, great to see him back up there. Hugh McKay, Jace Cosford and Joe Roberts, also a local here. They've done a lot of laps on this track, so plenty of riders all up the front end of this one. Now, I can also tell you, Lee, recently I've seen a lot of Rhys Budd around the area here at Cessnock, at Maitland, in the races that we've had locally here, and he's really putting in a lot of effort, most of the times racing against the 450s. Now that is a tough order when you're on a small bike, especially when we get to these smaller point and shoot tracks. He tries to outgun a 450. It just doesn't happen. You have to change the way you ride. Well, we are about to get this one underway, and as Rihanna said, I'm sure there is a bunch of 450 riders all watching what happens right here. Completely different style of starting. You can see them sitting right up as we get underway for the
Great jump from Kyle Webster out of the inside. Look at the whole shot from Kyle Webster. We're talking 3 bike lengths into turn 1. That looks to be, I believe, perhaps Noah Ferguson.
Yes. Oh, off the side of the track.
Oh, is that Kyle Webster off his...
Yes, Kyle Webster on the inside also. Is that Wills, possibly? There is Joe
Roberts has gone down. Was that, I don't want to say, Dobson. It looked to be one of the Serco riders.
Oh, wow, this is hectic moments right now as these guys try to hustle for position on the track. Jay Wilson leads this one at the moment. A chaotic first turn And there is Webster sitting there in second. So
place. So that could have been disastrous for him, however. No problem whatsoever. Jay Wilson leads at the moment from Webster, and Reese Budd continuing. He's got a good start there, and he's looking solid. Keep your eyes on Reese Budd.
Budd will be quick all the way to the end of this race, I promise you, as we see the guys negotiating their way through these deep ruts right now. This is great to see Wilson jumping straight out early and getting some confidence. There is Jesse Dobson on the 14. He has also got himself off to a decent start. I really would like to have known what happened off the start with the rider up the inside. I did see the back end step out. I didn't quite see who it was. But yeah, really tense times going through there. But we did mention it in the track preview that inside line was going to be very quick off the start, as we see the pressure right now, and already Webster wanting to make his way around, almost made that same pass work as they go to knock down the very first lap of this race.
Kyle Webster putting all kinds of pressure on the back of Jay Wilson. He's going to want to do what he did at Canberra and get a lead nice and quick, because you've got Reese Budd and the kind of confidence that he's carrying. If he can make a pass on Webster before Webster does on Jay Wilson, we could see some interesting racing here, because there's plenty of riders that can go that speed with Webster, but they just don't have his fitness. Little mistake, a little bobble from Kyle Webster has dropped him back into the clutches of Reese Budd. Now, Reese is going to be looking at the back of that number 96 that not many people are. Is that off the side? That was almost off the side of the track for Webster. A couple of little mistakes here would have the heart rate up.
Sorry, mate, Levi Rogers. Here is the replay. Have a look up the inside. It's maybe the 15 machine slides out here on the up ramp and straight off the side of the track
almost into a tree there. And at the same time, we saw Webster. You were watching the rider on the left there. I was watching the rider I watched Kyle Webster. He just jumped up the right-hand side and off the track. So fortunately for him, there were no trees in the way of Kyle Webster.
That could be disastrous for our riders early on in this one. I was trying to say that Levi Rogers, also in the 34 machine, a great start for him. He has made himself a pass to get up there. He had to pass Noah Ferguson to put himself there in 4th place. Jesse Dobson still there in 6th place. So we've got plenty of hitters, hard hitters, big hitters, I should say, up the front at the moment. There is Bud.
That was continues.
Eyes forward. You know what? That was just a normal motion going through there. He had a quick glance back with a turn of the head, threw the back end out so quickly. And that could just undo your whole day.
You know what that was? That was like a clock that wound up. It gets bigger and bigger. Now, Levi Rogers, as we watch him come through, he's a rider that hangs off the back of the bike. He's so tall. And when he gets off the back of the bike like that, if the back steps out, it takes your whole body with you and it slings you back the other way. He was very lucky not to get thrown down the track by his Yamaha there.
Will's there on the 64 up and over the finish line. He sits back there in 7th place at the moment. Also another rider that had a great race here in one of the local races. There is the 199 of Crawford just in front of him. So he is putting in a big charge here. Obviously a bad start. He's had to pass some riders as he makes his way past the 188 machine.
Yes.
Yeah, Ravenhorst also with a good start. So Nathan Crawford is on the move.
Now Crawford's come from 14th place, Hammy. He made a lot of very quick passes and he got to 9th and it's stagnant for a little bit. Just made that pass. However, the names you're looking at in front of that, your Dylan Wills, Dobson, Ferguson, Rogers, they're not quite as easy to pass. However, how many times have we seen Crawford make his way from there all the way up to where he generally ends up behind is Webster and can't do anymore. So let's see what Nathan Crawford's got for us today.
Now, as we see, there's a change already in the lead. We knew it wasn't far away. Webster was putting a lot of pressure on Jay Wilson. Now, it doesn't look like that was a mistake or anything. They are still sort of the same area of gap between 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th. So I just feel that Webster has found himself some good lines. He's put the pressure on. It is now up to Wilson to throw that hook in and try and get the toe. Make sure he doesn't drop off.
You know where it's come from, Danny, is that last lap, a 150.7. Now it's over 2 seconds a lap, almost 2.5 seconds a lap faster than the next fastest lap on track. So everyone else in the 52s, well, actually only 2 people in the 52s, and then we go down to 53s, 54s. So that chain of events that happened was from an absolute demon lap from the Honda rider to put himself into position. Now, are we going to see the same game plan that we've seen so far in rounds 1 and 2, where Kyle he's Webster's got a much smarter head on his shoulders this year. He'll try to get himself a little gap. Now, it only needs to be 3 or 4 seconds, and he'll keep it there. He doesn't feel he needs to get 10, 12 seconds. Let it all hang out like the old Webster that we used to see in recent years. It's going to be something pretty crazy that'll take this win away from him with the headspace that Kyle Webster's in at the moment.
So we may see before the end of this race possibly a few more places up the front being challenged, whether we see that, you know, in the next 5-10 minutes. Oh, down, front wheel, just the
I was just about to say, Danny, we've seen a couple of back-to-back mistakes from Rogers.
Just outside of that rut.
And he's caught in the slop, and he can't get that bike off his leg.
As we look at this, a small mistake there, yep. And you know what? It just unsettles you, just that small amount. He's looking for the inside, grabs the front brake just a little bit too hard, trying to get that rut. And the front wheel washes out very quick. So unfortunate for him, just as we say he was having a great race, it all ends very quick indeed as we look to the finish line. We are almost half race distance, 15 minutes still left in this one, but Webster hasn't cleared out that much. Very comfortable, 1.7 lead over the next place rider. Nothing to worry about, easily to control that lead from there. Wilson hasn't dropped back too far. It's settled in just a little bit at the moment, I think, with these riders. I think we may see something a little bit, another 5 or 10 minutes, and I think there's going to be some big charges. But you know what? The biggest thing is that they can all see each other.
Yeah, they sure can. As we approach that halfway, the 15-minute mark of the race, I think it's a good time. One of our main naming rights sponsors and partners of the series, AMX Superstores. Just a little bit of brief history on them. They started out in 2008 just with 1 store in Melbourne, quickly developed to 4 in Victoria. Now they have 18 stores. And what I wanted to point out, Hammy, it's got your ears pricked up a little bit. They're about to open a new store in Newcastle in Glendale in September. You'll have to drop down and grab a few things from AMX Superstores.
I'll be heading down there absolutely as soon as that opens, just around the corner from my work actually, and I know that's going to be a great place to maybe find some VMX parts as well.
Let's hope they can give you a little 5% discount there, Hambone.
Oh, keep plugging them. It's 5% every time. Yep, I'm happy for that.
Let's keep adding it up.
As we see, but now it's
still...
Yeah, you know what? None of these guys are giving up.
I think Jay's closed back in. It's about half a second back. That had grown out to a nearly...
How's the last lap times?
Wow.
52.48, 52.40, 52.43.
Wow, so it looks like they're on 52s. However, that's almost a full second that Wilson brought back on Kyle Webster. It's 0.8 or 0.78, shall we say, of a second between those two. So that's why we can visually see it, and it's not so much, you know, what we can see is the implied pressure from Kyle Webster. If he sees, well, hang on, it's not stretching out, it's closing, he needs to respond to that. When you need to respond, you've got to up the pace a little bit, and that's when some mistakes can happen. So we really need to keep an eye on those leaders at the moment, if possible. It would be fantastic to see what Kyle Webster and Jay Wilson are doing in that first and second place.
Well, Corey McMahon having a great battle here. I think he's right in behind Ravenhorst, is that? I think it might have been. Yamaha right in behind them, so plenty of battles going on all over the circuit at the moment. Really good battle here between these 3 riders. It's a 46 machine also up there.
And so that last lap, Kyle Webster and Jay Wilson both in the 51s, however, another 0.2 of a second taken out from Jay Wilson. So it continues to close up ever so slightly, but on the track, these two are almost going to look like they're battling at the moment.
We head down to Rihanna. She's got an update for us.
Yeah, and unfortunately, another disaster for Serco Yamaha rider Nathan Crawford. The team aren't exactly sure what's happened. His bike is parked to the back of the track, and Nathan has walked back to the pit. So whether it's been a mechanical or a crash, they're unsure, but really is hurting his championship fight at the moment, coming off the back of another tough weekend at Canberra.
Such bad luck once again for Crawford. But did you notice then, Lee, when Dobson went over that tabletop, he lifted the outside foot off the peg, I should say, and actually looked down at his foot peg. I think there might have been a problem with maybe a brake being jammed up with mud or something.
Exactly what I was going to say. Let's keep our fingers crossed. It's very, very common. You would know in recent times we spent down in Victoria. the rutted tracks we did at our school down there. At every single corner you go and you're jamming your foot pegs up, and you've got to give it a big kick. Now, these ruts here on this particular day today, it's very easy to jam up foot pegs. So who knows? Let's keep our fingers crossed that it's nothing major. I am very, very interested to try to get some intel. Maybe we can set Rihanna on a task to dig a bit deeper and find out if it was a crash or if it was a mechanical, because we know how devastated Nathan Crawford was, and of course the team, when they had that mechanical DNF in an earlier round, I believe at Wonthaggi. Now, it ended up, what it was, it happened in time qualifying. They thought they had it sorted, but it proved to be an ignition issue that didn't happen until the bike got to a certain temperature. They went out, they thought they had the bike sorted, and it wasn't. They had a mechanical DNF in the race. So, yeah, we need to get to the bottom of that and try to let our viewers know what the issue was, because a big difference between rider error and mechanical.
We did just momentarily have on screen Dylan Wills. He's moved himself up quite a long way as well. A lot of passes made. He was sitting on the back wheel of Noah Ferguson. So just actually in the background of that shot, you can see them two riders getting very close. So Wills also running some quick times at the moment, a 1:54.09. 1:54, is that correct? Yep, that's right. 1:59 by Ferguson that lap, so that'd be why we saw that gap close up so much. But have a look at this, it's not over for the leader. It's not all done. He is still working very hard to try and find the correct lines around this track. A lot of moments just there in the muddy part of the track. So as he gets into these lapped riders, he's going to be exploring some territory that, you know, he may not have seen just yet as they've done their laps around. And is that a Yamaha right there on the back wheel? Is that our lapped rider?
It's a lapped rider, and quite a substantial gap now back to Jay Wilson. If we notice on the times here, another 1:50.7 for Kyle Webster in the last lap, which just happens to be the fastest lap of the race as we get to the latter stage of the race. No one is on the same planet as Kyle Webster at the moment, so he has picked up right where he left off at Canberra for round 2. He doesn't look to be doing it too tough whatsoever. There's been a couple of instances where I've seen him take some fairly interesting lines through the mud instead of choosing one of the deep ruts. Now that can bite you, especially when you don't know what's under that slop.
Yep.
Kyle Webster continues to lead. He just dropped a 1:53, so time's just ever so slightly going down. Only 3 seconds off his fastest, but let's just remind everyone that his fastest was quite a bit faster than everyone else's, the 2.5 faster. So all three, Kyle Webster, Jay Wilson and Reece Budd in the 1:53s on that last lap. So everyone, as we get to only 4 minutes remaining plus a lap here on the Pirelli MX2 Moto 1 class for the day here at Maitland. We're edging ever so close to that checkered flag coming out, and I think what you'll find is now that we've got some half-decent laps between the top three, starting to I guess prepare themselves for the finish and maintain their gaps. I think the one that could potentially turn into a battle is the one between Jay Wilson and Reece Budd. But while we have a quick second, let's just keep going on through 4th place. Jesse Dobson continues to string together a great race here. Dylan Wills, not too bad in 5th place there.
Yeah, Wills had to move up a long way, so it's great to see that he is finding some form as well. As we see Ferguson, a little bit of a problem through there. That last lap around Lee for Dobson was a little bit off the pace, but Reece Budd actually was one of the quickest guys on track that last lap around. So he is starting to edge towards our 2nd place rider in Jay Wilson. As we see just a downed rider there going towards the finish line. Most of the riders all managing to get themselves around it without any issues, but I mean, that's how quickly it can change. Our leaders come around and we have a lap rider that does that right in front of them, and change the whole dynamic of this race.
Yeah, that's for sure, and that's the one that keep an eye on Reece Budd, because it's getting closer and closer together. And we've seen in some of the most recent rounds of the AMA Outdoor Motocross with the likes of Jet Lawrence and Roxon, there's been some really good passing moves made in the latter stage of the races. Those that have got a little bit extra energy up their sleeve. Someone that is not lacking in energy whatsoever is Kyle Webster. I know he's got his personal trainer here, John Park, who also serves as a physio for Race Safe here, who does such a fantastic job. Simon, the head crew, not only looks after us in the production, but he looks after the Race Safe. Great to have John Park here. The medical side of things is so important. but having your personal trainer here as well is a little bit of a bonus as well.
Always helps out with the confidence, and this is the thing with motocross, confidence is key. If you don't feel right on the day, you're going to have a lot of trouble knocking down those times that you really need to do to be able to run up the top with all of these guys. As we look at our intervals on the left-hand side, there is still 7 seconds back to our second place rider in Wilson, and he still commands 2.4 over Bud. So I was expecting that maybe to close up in these later parts of this race. It hasn't eventuated at the moment.
Jesse Dobson here putting in a hard charge.
Well, I actually think, I was going to say it on that long shot, I think Dobson's made a mistake. I couldn't see him so close to Bud that last time around, and I think if we look at our lap times here in our little studio, we'll see that he has dropped well off the pace. So I don't know what's happened on that last lap. It was very close between them, as we see our leader up and over the finish line on our timing. At 153.9 or 153.9 also for Jay Wilson. So, oh, sorry, 153.6, 154.1 for third place, Reese Budd, and 154.0. Okay, so it hasn't dropped that much. It's still with a chance, but 1 lap to go, you're really going to have to put in a big effort.
Well, what a calculated, methodical race from Kyle Webster. Other than a little excursion out of turn 1 off the side of that first tabletop, he's come back on. He took his time, he was patient, didn't rush too much before he made the pass on Jay Wilson. And as we said, watch this, stretch out a little lead. Got to 2 to 3 seconds. Stayed fairly close for a while, but we didn't see any major mistakes. And now it's only stretched out to 7. We're not talking a 30-second gap. He knows what he has to do to keep this ball rolling, to keep the train on the tracks and try to extend this nice little string of wins that he got. Can he do it again this afternoon? He's only got a couple more corners to go before he's going to come through to take the win. The victory here in Moto 1 of the Pirelli MX2. A fantastic job. Factory Honda team, they must be over the moon with Webster's form and the consistency that he's running. Team manager Yariv Konski, I know he's a bit of a nervous character. He likes to get a little bit uptight.
Sorry, mate.
Whoa.
Sorry, jump on you.
True.
Wilson, I think, has gone down possibly that shot, just waiting for the riders to come around. There is Webster negotiating a downed rider there. Is there only a couple more turns to go? We are almost closed down on this one. So
Dobson, Wilson's back to
Wilson
fourth place.
has crashed.
How about the tenacity from Reese Budd to stay in there, to keep that implied pressure on second place has quite possibly resulted in this. But let's follow him through the factory Honda rider. Kyle Webster, number 96 on the Honda CRF 250 machine. Winner takes out race number 1 with the Pirelli MX2. And I don't know, think for his, it's just another day at the office, another win. But I tell you what, there's a lot of very, very excited people here in the way, the form that he's doing this in. Reese Budd comes through in second place on the Yamaha machine on the number 22. And Jesse Dobson on the Serco Yamaha number 14 will round out the podium in the top 3. What a devastating late race crash or incident. We don't know what happened. You'd have to presume some kind of a crash or off-track excursion, resulting in him dropping back 2 places to hold on to that 4th place. Let's take a look at the Pirelli results for the MX2 Moto 1. Kyle Webster for the win on the Honda CRF 250. And we had a bunch of Yamahas back there in 2nd, 3rd and 4th with Reese Budd, Jesse Dobson, Jay Wilson in the top 4 there. Dylan Wills on the Husky rounding out the top 5.
2 Ferguson boys there in 6 and 7, so great ride by them. Chase Cosford is back there in 8th place. Thomas Ravenhorse also maintained the top 10 finish as well.
Jai Constantino, we mentioned earlier, not a bad job, just out of the top 10 in his return from injury. Corey McMahon, Liam Andrews, the Victorian, who had a long time off with some very nasty injuries. Great to see him back out on the track. Hugh McKay, I thought we saw a little bit of a bike problem there. Must have got it going, up and running again.
Oh, we're going to head down to a very calculated winner right now with Rihanna.
Yeah, what a pretty chaotic start for the Pirelli MX2 Moto 1, but it's the same man that greets the checkered flag first. Kyle Webster, Honda Racing Team, got the whole shot, but it sort of went a little bit pear-shaped, but you got the job done.
Yeah, I got a really good start, and I actually went off, I went into the mud a little bit, and then I couldn't turn in time, and I had to go off and around the side of the jump, and, I tried to be respectful and slow down and, not gain anything, so... Yeah, managed to slot back in and not too bad of a position and moved forward and spent a couple laps behind Jay and sort of saw where he was going and, yeah, sort of worked out a couple of lines where I could get around and try and make the move and then ride my own race.
You're remaining undefeated once again. We've gone 5 motos in a row. You look pretty calm. You look pretty chilled right now. How is the conditions out there?
Yeah, it's been a really good start so far, but yeah, I just try not to think about too many things that I can't control, and that's something we've really been working on this year and with our program and everything like that. So yeah, other than that, it's really good. The track's gnarly. It's really hard pack and slippery. So I think the next moto is going to be a little bit wild, but hopefully I get off to another good start. And my bike, it's working awesome. And big thanks to the whole team and everyone who supports the program.
Congratulations. We look forward to the second moto this afternoon. Boys, Kyle Webster taking out once again, but look at him, cool, calm and collected.
As we take a quick look at the Pirelli MX2 Moto2 lineup, Kyle Webster, of course, our Moto1 winner, was on 96. Jesse Dobson, Reese Budd, who was very strong Moto1. Nathan Crawford had that bad luck. He's back on the line. Jay Wilson, Noah Ferguson, also with a good ride, as to Dylan Wills, Hugh McKay, Jace Cosford, and Jai Roberts.
As we keep going through the list, Ferguson, Barham, Rogers, etc. Just want to quickly touch on Nathan Crawford. Remember what happened the last time he had a DNF? Come out the next race swinging. Not the best of starts, but managed to make his way through the pack and was the only one to put any form of pressure on Kyle Webster and almost reeled him in that one. I dare say he's going to have the fire in the belly for this one here. We are in the starter's hands. That Pirelli 15-second board is up. Watch her for when she goes sideways, and we'll be in the starter's hands, ready for a drop of the gate.
Well, we anticipate the inside will get the start. It has done all day long. We'll see if we can get proven wrong as we look at the riders sitting right up, getting as much weight onto the back wheels. Gates go down. Who is going to launch out the best in this one?
Kyle Webster's got squeezed out between the two Yamahas, and he certainly will not have that hold shot.
Crawford is up there.
He's up there.
Dobson went so deep, almost over the bars, trying to pull up.
How did somehow Kyle Webster slotted into a great spot, and he'll go up into second place? Someone went far off the track. Who have we got
47.
there? Number 47. He's okay if he's punching the ground. He's okay, and there's no major dramas. But we'll just try to pick up who that rider was. Brock Ninnis? Yes, Brock Ninnis, number 47.
Well, Jay Wilson leads this one for the first one around.
Webster has dropped back to fourth. He's gone from second to fourth.
So outside line, possibly looking for something different in that second turn has allowed the other Yamaha riders. We have a Yamaha 1-2-3 at the moment as Webster looks for this outside line. Remember, the track has changed a lot since they were out there last. Dobson needs to get across. Otherwise, Webster will make the pass as we look up to the 7 whole shot award, and it is going to Nathan Crawford. So, first tick off for this race after such a bad start to Moto number 1. Here's the whole shot. Can he continue this charge through to the lead? Now, I'm going to say, at a guess, he is going to be pretty damn hard to pass in this one.
Well, you got to think of the mindset, right? And then nothing to lose versus everything to lose from Kyle Webster, who won't do anything silly at the early stages of this race. Once again caught up. That was Hugh McKay that looked like come together with Kyle Webster. Now we go into damage control.
I think Webster may have already been stopped right down there because those guys were way further back. He is at least, that's like the 15th, I think, at a
Yes, 12th for Hugh McKay. So
we're about to go across the line. We'll be able to get an update on our timing.
We're about to see the first true test for Kyle Webster.
15th.
Because
that's what I said. 15th place for Kyle Webster. Yes, this is going to test him. We've been saying how strong he has been all year long. He has always been at the front, but he has had to make some passes, no question at all. But he has not been put in this position yet.
He's had good starts and he's always been top 2 or 3. Very quickly gets into first place. This is going, look, what he needs to come to terms with is the streak may come to an end here. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Championship's what matters. Let's try to get up into a top 3. All right, we get into top 3, maybe top 2, then take it from there. The main thing he needs to do is he needs to be calculated and not rush it too much because he's got a caliber of rider around him at the moment that he's not used to battling with so far this year. People that are prepared to do anything it takes to get anywhere near the top 3.
I'm just going to glance across at our Pirelli leaderboard. It is Wilson, Crawford, Dobson, Barham Bud is also up there with a good start, and Wills as well, so we may see him challenging it out as well. Constantino, Ferguson, Rogers, Ravenhorst, Hadlow. Let's keep an eye on where Webster is as he makes his way forwards. 15th across the line that last time around. Let's see how many places he can make up in this one lap. As we see our front three runners really pushing hard. This is a good ride for all the Yamaha boys.
Well, I tell you what, it's going to be a tough call from here if he can do it, but the possibility is there for a second place in Moto 1 was Reece Budd. If he can somehow get from where he sits at the moment in 4th and somehow get up to let's say even a second place, he'll get the overall win here. But he's got some fast characters in front of him. It's not like, he's just got a couple of mid-pack riders he's got to get past. Wilson, Crawford, Dobson, three of the biggest names in our sport.
Oh, look at this up the inside. Crawford trying to push it in there. Big run out of that turn prior to this one. It looked like it was a mistake there, but this is certainly where the pressure is coming from at the moment. Crawford, he does look like he's got the bit between his teeth. He is looking for some new lines down the inside here. Drop down and into this left-hander. Can he find anything at the moment? Rails around the outside. We may see a pass right here around the outside.
Nice line, and a little mistake from Wilson as he hit a kicker bump that slowed the momentum of his Yamaha. It allowed Crawford to rail the outside with no bumps. However, once again...
Wilson, nice. Very nice line up the inside. It's crazy to think that these guys use it. The inside here has got to be much better.
It has to. We've got to see a pass here. It does have a hook in at the inside. The outside carries a lot of momentum. However, Crawford railed that inside and just headed straight for the outside of the corner. I think we're going to see a run and hide situation from Nathan Crawford. We've got a replay of what's going on here.
Oh, this is just the pass. Nice move around the outside there by Crawford. Really stoked to see that he's turned his day back around right now. You said it before we even started. Last time that this happened, he came out swinging. He's done exactly the same thing again today.
And Kyle Webster is chipping away. I was just about to say he's not making moves fast enough. He's only up to 10th. Just as I say that, he's into 9th. Then we start to look at the names. Constantino, Ferguson, Rogers, even Dylan Wills are the kind of riders. Nothing wrong with these guys, but we expect the likes of Kyle Webster to be able to mount an attack and start climbing forward very quickly.
Another lap down, 19 minutes. Still go long way to go. You saw the results of the first race, and that was the only thing you were going off. You saw Wilson back there in 6th or 7th, something like that. It does not tell the story. Wilson rode exceptional first race all the way to the very last lap. Now, I spoke to him between the motos. He said, simply, it was my fault. I made a mistake. I misjudged one of the lap riders. I thought he was going to one place. He went to another, and he tried to make a turn and just simply didn't make it. Had the smallest of tip overs. Second all the way through, one mistake, way back.
Now, Hammy, let's just have a little look here. Jesse Dobson and Reece Budd, as they sit at the moment, being that they've swapped positions, will be equal on points. Let's throw in the mix Jay Wilson, who had a 4th in Moto 1, but currently sits in 2nd, also equal in points. We've got 3 riders currently equal on points. If it stayed like this, it would come down to a count back, which would see Jay Wilson win on the day with Dobson 2nd and Reece Budd 3rd, all on the same points, all sorted by a count back.
Absolutely crazy. We see a big move here by McKay around the outside of the 46. He's trying to make his way forward a little bit more. Big little scrub across that jump, keeping that momentum going. If you follow any of his social media stuff, really good videos that these guys do down there in Tasmania. Absolutely fantastic stuff.
The interval we see now between Crawford back to Wilson, 2.4. So already starting to stretch that out. Wilson back to Dobson, however, at only 0.7 of a second. Reece Budd, a little bit lonely all by himself from how it's looking here. He's got 3 seconds up to Dobson and nearly 3 back to Wilsey. So Rogers right in there battling after his big mistake and little crash in that first one. And then Ferguson and Webster only 5 seconds back. So Kyle Webster, if he can get a run on, if he can get sprint speed up and complete the whole moto, We've still got 17.5 minutes plus a lap. He still has the ability to get up somewhere near the top 4 and quite possibly could still get the overall on the day. Even
amongst the other riders at the moment, he just set his fastest lap time of this race at a 52.6, 152.6. Our leader, a 152.4. So he is running the pace of the leaders, but if
he's in slower
while he's in deeper traffic. So if he can get some clear track, he should make some inroads towards the front. As we see a few of the more of our riders, it looks like Joe Roberts there possibly on the 100 on the right-hand side of the screen. He is a local rider that has come back to racing this year after a big injury. It's great to see him back out on track. Bad Moto number 1 going down in the first turn. 34, we saw him up there earlier on today. It's a long way back at the moment. That is Levi Rogers. Now, we don't know what happened to him, but he was in the mechanics area briefly just then.
Well, that slotted Webster up another position. That was one that he was going to have to get past. So he was up there just behind Dylan Wills and ahead of Noah Ferguson. So Webster now up to 7th place and edging ever so closer to being able to not only battle for top 3 overall for the day, and of course continue his charge for the championship, but maybe even get another overall win under his belt. This is one rider who we don't have to worry about for the overall win on the day, but he is going to want to get a victory in the moto. The first person that would take a moto win off Kyle Webster in 6 motos.
And done on his practice bike, or spare bike. Well, that just shows how quick this guy can ride when he is a bit of luck on his side. He has had some terrible luck so far this year with the bike issues that he has.
So, Danny, let's just have a quick look here. Race leader, 152.5, Nathan Crawford. Only other rider in a 152 was Kyle Webster. However, that just ticked over. He got a 153. As you mentioned, he's mired in with some riders a little bit not quite the same pace as him as Jesse Dobson. Tries to mount another challenge on Jay Wilson. And just watching Wilson going into that corner there, this track, what's sticking out in my mind, it's got great ruts, it's got a lot of good flow to it. There's some braking bumps that have some nasty kickers on it. I go back to that kick that Benny Novak got a couple of times, 2 or 3 times. We're seeing it in MX2 class as well, and I dare say we're going to see it later on in the MX1 class. Not the usual braking bumps where you just get a little bit of swap side to side or a bit of a boot. We're seeing some real nasty kicks here today. It's developing into a track where you really need to be quite creative with your line selection.
Eyes always over the track as we take a little glimpse back at Webster, and the back wheel locked up there. He actually looked like he may have stalled it coming into that jump. Luckily for him, though, he had the momentum and a little pop off the ground there.
He's ahead of Ferguson now into 6th place, and the next on the hit list will be Dylan Wills.
As he makes his way through to the rollers right now, I was just saying that he was lucky with the bike landing on the ground with that momentum. He was able to just bump start that bike again, very briefly, but again, going into that turn, a little mistake, just overcooked the corner a fraction. Had to brake a little bit harder than he needed to so that he could pull out for the corner.
Pace through that sand section.
Yeah, absolutely flying through there, tipping it into this one and already clearing out from Ferguson right there behind him. And he is starting to close in on our lead riders as we keep an eye on our times.
You know what? Dylan Wills is closed into only 1.1 seconds off Reese Budd. So,
so Willsy last time around at 153.3, second, third fastest on the track. So this is a good ride by Wills as we keep an eye in the background, see if we can see him.
What a battle here from these 2 Yamaha boys. A nice little Yamaha hit out here, controlling the first 4 with Nathan Crawford, Jay Wilson, Jesse Dobson and Reese Budd.
Wilson there changing up his line after the pass by Nathan Crawford. He may have been onto that one a few laps ago, but keeping the mind open when you see these passes made or someone that is gaining ground on you, you've got to think about it just like if you were following the live stream earlier on, something that Craig Anderson mentioned, that he was always hearing the other bikes around him, wondering where the riders were making up their time and looking for those new lines. Just waiting for that crossover there for Dobson to work. He goes right out wide and swings into this as they go into some lapped riders. This could play into it.
Now, as we're watching at the moment, Danny, we're going to have to see a pass from Jesse Dobson to move up. It could be right here. Although it does go into...
It's going to be... Yeah, that was nice by Wilson.
Wilson doubling those two bumps. That was very close and almost should have been a pass, but it was something very special from Wilson. I was just about to say, Jesse Dobson, as we see at the moment, is the only real threat as we see Kyle Webster climbing up through the pack to 6th place, and he's going to keep climbing. The only person that's really a threat for the overall on the day for him is Jesse Dobson. Dobson does need to hop up into that 2nd place, because Dobson with a 3rd place in Moto 1 moves up to a 2nd in this one. Still, I don't know if it's going to be enough with the charge we're seeing from Kyle Webster, but this is the kind of exciting racing that we like to see from MX2. Don't get me wrong, everyone loves to see a hero like Kyle Webster out in the lead, but this is throwing a cat amongst the pigeons. We're seeing some fantastic battles. Now, Danny, this is by no means saying anything bad about the fitness of Wilsey or Reece Budd. They're both extremely fit. I know, especially Reece Budd trains so hard. But what you have to factor in is no one has the fitness and staying power of Kyle Webster. So what we currently see with lap times and the pattern that's going on, as we progress down to the next 7, 8, 9 minutes, when we've still got another couple of laps to go after that, you have to think that the one that's going to be able to keep these times going, if not improve their times, will be Kyle Webster. So watch this space. He just needs to make sure he minimises those mistakes. And yeah, let's watch.
Big move right here by Dobson. Tries to push it around the outside. We did see the pass made earlier of Wilson. Exact same spot. Can he make it stick this time around? Another Yamaha rider around the outside. It works well with the inside to this next corner, and it looks like Dobson's going to be able to make it.
Dobson has done what he needs to do. He has put himself in the game for the overall.
And to cement your point also, Lee, about Webster, he just set the fastest lap of his race at a 151.8. No one even close. 2 seconds difference in that last
lap. The
lap.
longer the race goes on, the better Kyle Webster gets. Let's have a look at this pass once again. Jesse Dobson, the real deal. Have a look at this. Fantastic move on Jay Wilson. He knows he'll be getting the information from his Serco Yamaha team. His mechanic will be telling him it's go time. You need these points. It's going to be very, very difficult. Not out of the question, but very difficult to get a hold of his teammate, Nathan Crawford, who is on his own absolute mission. But have a look at Kyle Webster and the intensity.
We're going to keep an eye on the screen in front of him, the area in front of him, see if we can find out where that next rider will be. It is Wills. He should just be out of shot.
Yeah, he's all over the back of Reece Budd, just 0.4 of a second from what live timing is showing us.
It's
and
right
only
there.
3 seconds now. It's all happening here.
Well, that should be Wills there, I think, in shot.
It is, and
he's already, yeah, Wills is in front of Reece Budd.
Yes.
So Willsy has made the pass. It's a good ride by Wills. It's what we expect to see out of him. Much better performance.
This is the old Willsy that we've seen from years ago. Great to see a bit of form. Once again, we're on a track that we know he does well. Likewise with Reece Budd. These guys are in their element here.
Well, it was the East Coast round that we did have here where Wills was the only rider that could really challenge Budd on the day, and I think he even may have got the position over him in that one, in one of the races. So solid ride here as the track deteriorates and gets a little bit rougher.
And I can tell you, Kyle Webster is not 3.7 seconds back, so do not look at that time, because we are talking no more than a couple of seconds. It might be in the high ones. Oh, there we go. Just changed. 1.5 seconds. Webster is on here. So sometimes I think Kyle Webster prefers this. I think he likes to be in amongst this type of stuff rather than out by himself. He's an absolute battler, like a warrior that prefers to be in these kind of situations. Let's watch a man go at work here as he picks his way through the field.
Well, there was that crossover that I was speaking of, but it just doesn't look like that line has developed as they go towards the rollers now. Webster's been doing almost a manual version through here too. They're keeping that front wheel up off the ground and just wheeling through, keeping that drive. That lap not so much, but it's really good when they can get a lot of drive going into there. Oh, the pressure on Budd. He's feeling it in Webster.
Nice
just like
pass.
that.
Yeah, that was the pressure.
Yeah, this pressure just made that small mistake, and that line up the inside, it looks smooth there.
Well, the thing is, you're talking about quite possibly, look, let's forget about Regan Duffy for a second. You're talking about the best sand rider in the country, right? He's just incredible. So what he's done is he picks the roughest line that's the shortest distance. To him, that's a walk in the park compared to what he's used to dealing with in Western Australia.
Yep.
So he just holds it absolutely wedged to the stopper and takes the shortest distance, then cuts across to that inside. Certainly now has got his sights set on Dylan Wills, who's managed to edge out a little bit of a lead now. I think Reese Budd might have just pumped up ever so slightly, but we're getting down. We're at the 5-minute mark now. He's got a couple of seconds. He's got to get back now on Dylan Wills, who's got the bit between his teeth.
Wills is going to have to put the effort in right now if he wants to stay in that position. I don't see him going back much further than 5th. If Webster catches up to him, I think he's going to be able to maintain that, but Webster is flying at the moment. As we see them go to the centre part of the track through Thor Corner. And there is Wills, who just got a glimpse of him as they went through that turn down this very fast straight across those tabletops. And this could be the difference here. There's obviously a couple of different lines by Webster as they go through this part of the track. So Webster might have something up his sleeve that not many riders are seeing at the moment. One rider down there.
Very precarious position on the side of the track there.
101.
Yeah.
Jaden Bowden. So we've seen a lot of crashes on that one corner. Not somewhere that you generally expect to see people going down so much. As we have 4 minutes and 42 seconds left. As we take a look at the replay, just look on the right-hand side. Just front wheel tucked coming through.
Wow, and how lucky was Jai Constantino to miss. He just made his own little gap there in between. So now, Danny, just done some maths here. We're figuring it out. If we can get Kyle Webster can somehow make a pass on Dylan Wills and move up into 4th place.
That's likely.
He will win the overall by 1 point, because there were 2 positions separating Kyle Webster from Jesse Dobson in the first moto, and there'll be likewise in this one. The only difference is when you win that first moto, you've got that extra point up your sleeve. Kyle Webster must make this pass to get the win if the positions stay the same. If Dobson remains in 2nd place, he's got to get past Dylan Wills.
You know what, for someone that has been so dominant and the championship lead is his, he's got a huge lead, doesn't need to do it.
No, he doesn't. But he wants to win.
I know he wants to win 100%,
round.
but you know, the big picture, you talk about big picture, he loses a point, a single point on the day where he's had a bad start, had to come from deep in the pack. Yeah, that's pretty damn good.
I know. Look, but when you're that proud, when you're riding this well, it's one thing to break your streak of moto wins. It's another thing to break your streak of overall wins.
Look at this. They are just closed on the back wheel of Jay Wilson.
So that just goes to show the ride from Dylan Wills. I cannot overstate this enough how impressive this is.
Well, last lap around was a 54 by Jay Wilson, 52 for Dylan Wills, at 51 for Webster. So this place right here is going to erupt in the next lap or 2.
We've got enough time. There's 2 minutes 52 plus a lap. We've got time.
Yep.
You just can't afford any of these key players here in these 3 positions.
There's 3 laps in it.
You can have little mistakes like that, a little dab of the foot. You can't have a stall or a tip over.
Oh, big move up the inside there by Webster. He really tipped it into that corner. Mistake coming out of it now. If he does too many of them, that will slow down that momentum moving forwards. He really, although needs to push hard, he needs to still maintain that mental strength and not override that bike too much, because it can slow you down and can create these mistakes.
Nice line up the inside from Kyle Webster.
He's still there.
Yeah, no doubt Dylan Wills will start to feel the pressure of that red plate. It's bad enough having anyone behind you, but when you've got someone with the red plate and the kind of aggression and intensity that Kyle Webster rides with, you can hear that, you can feel that.
Around the outside, we've seen so many passes made here. Oh, Webster, the back wheel stepping out.
And a mistake from Dylan Wills on the inside. That was close. Oh, and another little step out.
We may still see this pass happen down this next straight if he is right there on the back wheel. He tries to find some new real estate up the inside, does Webster. right on the edge of the track. He actually had to turn back onto the track. He was so tight.
That was interesting to see. I could spot from that very close camera work that Kyle Webster's foot peg was still quite a bit up. Must have been jammed up from him tipping it in so hard. I wonder if that's what caused him to just drop back a little bit. Didn't seem noticeably kick down the foot peg at all. But this changing of momentum here, you've seen Wilsey pull back out again. There's 1 minute left on the clock. There's only so many bites of the cherry or little stabs at it that you can have before you're unsuccessful. He's only got 1 or 2 more goes at it. There's that kicker again. It's so nasty, that entry into that corner.
You see the mud dropping off the bottom of the pegs there, and Wills now no longer.
Oh, had to change lines at the last minute, and that's allowed Kyle Webster right onto the back.
Well, I was just about to say that Wills didn't have to think about Webster anymore, and his focus was on Wilson in front of him. But again, that has changed, and now we see Wills trying to defend off a huge charge here by Webster with 2 laps to go.
Jay Wilson coming through on the Yamaha Yamalu machine. Dylan Wills on the Husky under extreme pressure from that factory Honda of Kyle Webster. That red plate bearing down.
It's going to come down to some lap riders as well. Oh, big slide out there by Wills. This could be the difference. Going into this corner, they're so close. Inside-outside lines, watch for the fly around the outside, but he has to do it clean if he's going to do it.
Yeah, this is exactly the same as the last lap, except this time he comes out next to him and holds it wedged around the outside. Stays low. It's going to play into Webster's favour here. A nice little boot.
And this battle is close.
Nearly goes high. Oh, it nearly takes out the front wheel of Dylan Wills unintentionally, but puts himself into a position where currently he will get the overall on the day. He needs to hold that line there. Dylan Wills is not going to give it up. Let's watch this replay here as we go into the right-hander. We'll see Kyle Webster controls the inside, cops a kick. That's enough to rattle him a little bit, gets to this rut and almost high sides. That could have very easily been a crash.
There was a good move by Wills to see that one coming as well. Unfortunate for him, but we've completely forgotten about this guy out in front. He is blitzing it at the moment. The 199 of Crawford. A little bit of evasive manoeuvres there to avoid that lap rider. But he will come around this time and receive the last lap board. And you know how ecstatic he is going to be if he can close this one out for 1 more lap. The last lap board on display for the Serco Yamaha rider, 199 Nathan Crawford. It will be Dobson coming over, just ticked over the line, 5.1 seconds behind him. As they enter into the last lap, Webster and Wills, 0.8 Webster and Wills. Wills has not given up just yet.
Well, I know you would say normally ecstatic, you would think, so let's talk about it. Nathan Crawford, he's just come off the DNF, so to win for someone the calibre of Crawford, it'd be bittersweet. Wouldn't think it'd be too ecstatic, but in a season like 2021, where Kyle Webster has just seemed unstoppable, he will be ecstatic
so,
to be able to take a moto off Kyle Webster. But how about the charge from as far back as he was to be able to come through and put himself into a position now? Webster needs to just be mindful that he currently sits in the overall position here. He doesn't want to put the bike down and lose that overall because he's trying to get another position that he doesn't necessarily need. But try slowing Kyle Webster down. That's no mean feat, that's for sure.
As a rider, and you know yourself, it's very hard to actually know when the riders have been so all over the place with their points and their placings. I'm sure he might have got the information on the board, but there's a chance he doesn't know that he's in that winning overall position for the day. So he's still mindset. He needs to get Jay Wilson. He needs to make 1 more place so he can put that towards the championship bid. And right now he's throwing absolutely everything at him as we try and see the last couple of turns. Our race leader should almost be at the finish line in front of these guys. So
another rider that we haven't really spoken about is Jesse Dobson, who's done such a fantastic job and almost been the one to take the overall.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're exactly right, Hammy. Let's follow him through as he comes around the final corner. What a sensational bounce back from a DNF in Moto 1. Nathan Crawford takes victory here and a big fist pump, one-hander, taking Moto 2. And what a way to throw it down.
So ecstatic?
Ecstatic?
Yes,
Let's
I
say
think so.
ecstatic. Taking Moto 2 of the MX2 brought to you by Pirelli, as we're trying to come through. We've got to call the overall here. Dobson, no doubt, would have already come through. He's 3.9 seconds back. And then Wilson and Webster was only 1 second back. So really not too far behind was that top four. And Dylan Wills in only 0.4 of a second back in 5th place. So the overall will go to factory Honda rider Kyle Webster. A sensational job, but a lot of pats on the back to be given for a bunch of different situations. Nathan Crawford getting that win. What a fantastic ride from Jesse Dobson to ever so close to the overall win. And Kyle Webster keeping that win streak alive, not motos, but overalls.
And you think 3rd place, Jay Wilson stepped it up. He matched his fastest lap time of the race on that very last lap.
The only one a little bit of a bummer, when I say bummer, someone like Reese Budd, 6th place is not too bad for Reese, but when you consider he was 2nd in championship, 2nd in Moto 1, he was the one that maybe should have been in there trying to get that first ever MX2 overall. But what a fantastic job, and a great bounce back for the Serco Yamaha team. It would be gutted in between Moto 1 and 2. Let's take a look at the Pirelli results. MX2, Moto 2, Nathan Crawford. Hats off to you. What a sensational bounce back. Jesse Dobson, 2nd place in the race and will be 2nd overall. Jay Wilson rounding out the top 3.
Kyle Webster did do a great comeback all the way through to 4th. Dylan Wills with his best race of the year.
Fantastic.
Brilliant ride. Reese Budd, Noah Ferguson, Jay Constantino, Jace Cosford, and Corey McMahon in 10th place.
Yeah, 8th place, Constantino with his bounce back ride from a privateer. Great job. Liam Andrews, Ferguson, Ravenhorse, Roberts in the top 14. Chandler Burns rounding out the top 15. That's a highlight for him. We're about to go down to Rihanna, who's with our winners.
Yeah, time now for the podium for the Pirelli MX2 Moto 2 here in Maitland, taking out the victory on the Serco Yamaha. Nathan Crawford, talk about riding in anger. You certainly wanted to get that victory done today.
Yeah, I got beat down this morning a little bit, which sucked. I feel like it's cost me maybe an overall today, or at least another podium. So yeah, that was a tough pill to swallow, and I kind of had nothing else to do but go out and try and win. And pretty pumped to be the only rider to stop Kyle from winning. And yeah, just need to somehow stop this first moto thing happening to me, and I think I'll be on top of the box soon.
Yeah, it's certainly good to see you on the podium. Taking out 2nd place on the podium on the Yamaha also is Jesse Dobson. Jesse, you certainly had to work for today's race.
Yeah, it was definitely tough out there. I felt like the boys were all sending it. So, but we come out of this one with some good points, and I can't thank my whole team enough. The Serco Yamaha team, everyone that supports me, Pingelli Trucks, Street Race Solutions, Waterwise Plumbing, and then I'd like to dedicate this podium to a good friend of mine that passed a couple of weeks, 2 weeks ago. So this is for him, and yeah, thanks to everyone else that supports me. So.
Really lovely words from you, Jesse Dobson. And rounding out the podium on the Yamaha, Jay Wilson. Jay, congratulations. Awesome riding out there.
Yeah, we're definitely improving, that's for sure. It's another step in the right direction. Canberra was the same. We're on the podium there. We're on the podium again this weekend, so it's good. I can't believe we're actually racing this weekend. A lot of athletes are missing out, obviously because of the border restrictions, and I feel sorry for them. So a big shout out to those guys that are stuck at home at the moment and missing out on a fair championship. But a big shout out to my friends and family and my team back in New Zealand. My wife and daughter are back in New Zealand at the moment, so not sure what's going to happen over the next few weeks, whether I'll get back there or not, but a big shout out to Josh Coppins, Ben Townley, everybody over there that's been supporting me and getting me back up on top, and also my home team, Yamalube Yamaha Racing team. They're putting in a big effort back here, and it's good to be back up on the podium and fighting for podiums at least at the moment. So
really nice words there from Jay. Congratulations to our 3 podium place getters for Moto 2. Kyle Webster taking out the overall by 1 point here this weekend. I sort of sense a bit of sort of happiness, but also a bit of disappointment as well with that one.
Yeah, definitely. I just made a silly mistake there on the first lap. I took a right I probably shouldn't have, and yeah, it had a big hole in it. It really caught me out. But I felt like I gave it everything to get back to where I got to. I think it was 4th in the end, and I was a long way back. So it was good, and I was track marking everybody while I was coming through, and I definitely had the pace, which was good. So just that silly mistake on my behalf really cost me, and I should say I still had the overall today, so I'm stoked on that, but I'm just disappointed from that little mistake. It really bummed me out a bit.
Were you aware how close that overall was? Only a couple of points?
Oh, I had a rough idea in my mind, and I wasn't even really thinking about that, to be honest. I was just trying to move forward in the race, and, you know, I sort of was thinking, like, if I get far enough forward, it'll be pretty close. So, yeah, that wasn't really running through my head too much, I guess, until the end. But, yeah, I suppose I managed to get up there, and I'm stoked with that.
Boys, he still sits at the top of the championship title, Kyle Webster, but Nathan Crawford has been the only man to get ahead of Kyle Webster this season.
And let's take a look at the championship points here for the Pirelli MX2. Kyle Webster on 143, stretching that lead out again over Jesse Dobson in second place at 109.
Brisbane also up there at 106. He has fallen back just a little bit. Jay Wilson has improved his position and fraction. Nathan Crawford just needs to get a bit of luck his way, and he can definitely gain a few more points up there to maybe run in the top, second or third. Hopefully he can get it all sorted out for the next round.
Noah Ferguson back there, 79 points, and Jace Cosford on 63. Isaac Ferguson and Corey McMahon rounding out the top 10